And I didn't ever tell them no difference. And see, now a lot of parents was going to come on back here and get it. I didn't say a word to them. Just go out there and holler at them all they want to. If they had a head in the can and they throw that and they'd pick it up and eat. But
they didn't harm us at all.
No,
the reason they didn't harm us.
No, they just did that thing.
They knew us. The hooded people knew us.
Sure.
But we didn't know them.
Well, I knew some of them.
After we found out, later on. But they knew us. They knew who we were.
Right.
Not children. Yeah, they played with them.
I'm going to tell you, that's the first time. I'm 70 years old. That's the first time I had a laugh in relationship to the Ku Klux Klan.
You should have seen it. You should have seen it, though. We didn't, I wish we had cameras back in them days, though, Freddie. Take pictures of it I don't ever remember all the time that they had performed or whatever they done, that you saw pictures of them. They didn't. I don't guess they allowed that, did they? Because they didn't really want Monroe to know, because most of those merchants downtown
were the Klan.
Yeah, they still Klan.
Now, my experience with them was that, and you know about the story, Mr. Williams. Back in that day, just like we had to get off the street to allow our white brothers and sisters to pass, we had to get out of the road to let them pass on the road, because roads were just one lane.
Yeah, right, one lane.
And one Saturday afternoon, I was coming from Old Stall Quarter, visiting Grandma, and Miss Elliott Sadler, this lady that used to run the post office. Ooh, she could talk to you so nasty.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, she could say stuff to you in the post office, throw your money on the floor. Ooh. But anyway, one day I was coming from Old Stall Quarter, and I was coming back, and my father had passed. Mr. Willie Howard had passed, and Mom, with some of the proceeds from his death, had went down to Ford and bought a brand new Ford truck, blue and white, with a red pinstripe down the side. That was a pretty truck. But anyway, Mom would tell us, there was 5 boys and 4 boys and 6 girls, and she would tell us, whoever got a stripe on that truck, they wasn't driving that truck Sunday. So one Saturday evening, coming out from Old Stall Quarter, I could see Miss Sally, the dust, as she heading toward me, coming down that 16, we call it 16 hill. Man, there was no way I was going to get in the ditch, put a scratch on that truck, and not be able to drive it Sunday. So I didn't get out of the road. And Miss Saddles had to hit that ditch. I mean, she hit it hard. And do you think, in 1964, a black boy gonna be over in Stall Quarter in them woods, helping some white woman that talk to you like a dog out the ditch? I didn't say a word. I come straight on to the house. Come straight to the house.
Let her handle it.
And pull that truck up in there at the house. And didn't say nothing. Man, by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I imagine, I don't know who it was, but these men out of Beatrice, all of them pull up in the yard, shine their lights up in the house. Talking about, Loretta, send that boy out here that run my wife off the road. Woo! You talking about quiet in the house?
Nobody there.
That's the first time I heard Mom cuss. I imagine, I don't know who it was, but these men out of Beatrice, all of them pull up in the yard, shine their lights up in the house. Talking about, Loretta, send that boy out here that run my wife off the road. Woo! You talking about quiet in the house?
Nobody there.
That's the first time I heard Mom cuss. Mom come out there, and she didn't cuss them, but she did cuss the road. She said that so-and-so road belonged to my son just as much. She didn't cuss his wife either, as Miss Sadler. Now get out of my so-and-so yard and walk back in the house. Man, them cars stayed out there. I reckon I don't know what they were doing, but their motors were still running, the lights still shining up in the house. And about 10, 15 minutes later, they all pulled out.
You had a tough mother. She was tough.
That was the first time I heard Mama Loretta Howard cuss.
She was tough.
But that was my experience of what they could do and what they would do to you.
Oh, yeah.
That was in 1964.
Just one example. There's plenty of them.
Yeah.
Like that.
They were doing a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Do you remember the situation with Mr. Cunningham when they was trying to get to him?
Well, they was always trying to smaller groups and sometimes bigger groups, but he would tell me about a lot of issues where he had confronted opposition, sometimes close up, and sometimes directly from an individual white who would cuss him out and say things to him about it. But he said he just ignored it and kept right on doing what he had to do.
He used to tell me about his wife, Miss Addie.
Yeah.
Man, he said that the white folks, the board, and he said so many folks tried to do stuff to him, and he would tell me if it weren't for Miss Addie and her working, for the Board of Education, and
right.
he would say she would. When she get through talking to him, he could go out and it'd fire him up. But that I can imagine, Miss Nanny, that's how you kind of kept yours going. I know you said it several times, but that's what gave the men the power to go out there, a supportive wife.
Well, I give her credit because she stood tall. And a lot of mothers would have, because I've seen cases where a mother sometimes almost snatch a child's arm off when he step out in front of something like that. But she knew them children was right there, and she knew what they were doing and saying. But she never worried about it. She didn't say nothing about it. Just let them say what they want to say. After all, they was on their side of the street and on their property. And they could stand out there and yell back at them all they wanted to. And so did none of them come over there on that side and attempt to bother. And I don't think they had no intention of doing that no way. It was just create that little filth thing that they do, putting their little robes on and marching through time. Back then, that did carry a little fear, but I feel reasonably sure that it was our actions then that destroyed that fear of the Ku Klux Klan. Black folks just ignored them because if they went too far, when they come over to get us, some of us are going to get some of them, one way or the other. It's just going to be a race war. And thank God it didn't get to that.
Okay, there's one other question I want to ask you, was a couple more, but Dr. Martin Luther King never set foot in Monroe County. Now, there is one story as to why that occurred. I heard that from Mr. Cunningham. But from your recollection, what was the story behind when he was right over the next door in Wilcox County? What was your recollection of that particular incident, why he didn't come?
I'm not fully sure of the real reason why he didn't, but I don't think it was fear on his part. It may have been that he just didn't get the right invitations from the right people to come for a particular given program. Of course, now in a lot of cases he went places where he didn't have to have an invitation. He just went because there was a need. And we may have, well, actually Monroe County has, I won't say it's been a perfect, by no means, with race relations, but I can say that I feel that race relations in Monroe County has not been nearly as bad in Monroe County because I grew up here as a boy. And I used to play with a little white boy right there where the water board is now. He and I would ride all the time on our bicycles and tricycles and go up there and play in the courthouse yard. And I was a year or two older than him, and his mother would give me the money to go to the drugstore every day. We'd go up there and we'd go in the drugstore and they had the bars, had the kind of bar on the stools at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And at the drugstore, blacks could only just go to that front ice bar and all the things across the counter.
Mm-hmm.
But me and that boy went in there and sit, and I was cool. Now we were just 7, 8 years old.
Mm-hmm. But
every day he and I go in that drugstore and sit up on the counter stool. White folks sitting on both sides of it. Nobody said a word.
Mm-hmm.
Man didn't no question Southern. Because I understood later on the reason was because I happened to be with her grandson.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knew what was going to happen if she
messed with her grandson.
Messed with
her. I have really enjoyed talking to you, and I want to say to our listeners, we have covered in the recollection of all of our minds what comes to the top of our mind that really sticks out in the mind about our past here in Monroe County, and Mr. H.B. Williams and his relationship as a civil rights activist, and some of the trials and tribulations that he went through, him and his family, to get where we are. Let's move up to modern, what you might say, modern times, well, all times, 40, 50 years, that's still modern time, but currently, I know I've sat with you at your house there, and you talk about issues that you have been involved in and dealing with, so forth, legal things. Is there anything, what I say modern time, in the last 10 or 12 years that you've had to deal with that comes to mind that still reminds you of the struggle of black-white relationships, and even though it's changed some, but that lets you know that it's still here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, I guess it's a lot of things. Of course, I think I would like to say, first of all, that the positive things, before we get into too much of the negative.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very pleased with the fact that Monroe County, I think, when I'm talking about the whites, the power structure now,
mm-hmm.
I think that it was accepted a little better here than it was in most other counties in the state. Issues come up, and of course they were handled in a very intelligent manner, and there were one or two maybe extremes where blacks was kicked to the curb, but for the most part, I think our leadership, our political leadership
mm-hmm.
in Monroe County has been very well established, because somebody, and it had to be the whites, had enough foresight
mm-hmm.
to open the door for blacks to be elected officials and to give them jobs that was previously given to all whites. And with the coming of Vanity Fair Mill in Monroe County, and Monroe in particular, where blacks and whites, basically women, were hired, but they hired, including my wife, and she was there on an equal basis and an equal pay basis, and so were some others. And I think those were door openers for showing that Monroeville and Monroe County was interested in the upgrading of the race relations in Monroe County. And we had some very open-minded political leaders, judges, lawyers, things of that nature, who saw to it that even though there were more blacks in the courthouse than whites, naturally, but still they tried to go all out to be sure that justice was dealt in a equal and fair share.
Okay. To wrap it up, you first, Miss Nanny. Anything you would like for the people to know in regards to your 70 plus